Hello, everyone, and welcome to the semifinals of the Season 1 Invitational weekend here in Roanoke, Virginia. The conclusion of Season 1 of the SCG Tour brought to you by the wonderful people over at Ultimate Guard. Cedric Phillips and Craig Krempels, we are here in the booth preparing to watch Michael Strianese playing Eldrazi Tron against Brian Coval, playing Death and Taxes. Brian on a mulligan to 6. Michael happy with his opening hand, and we are underway here in game number 1 of our semifinals. And Craig, they both have 1-drops. Not sure which one is better. They're both quite good.
You know, I would think on the play, the Eldrazi Tron 1-drop is just way better. Actually, a lot better.
Expedition map can lead to Tron on turn 3.
Yeah.
This deck can kind of go nuts. However, Vial, though it is a little bit slow and steady, could win the race here for Brian. We'll see as the Vial ticks up to 1.
Yeah, I think I would want to be on the side of the Expedition map here on the play. I was just going to say, Ghost Quarter just seems like an absolute necessity in this situation. And even then, you know, which land do you pick off?
Well, there's no tower out there. That's the obvious. Everyone likes to go after the tower.
Sure.
There's a power plant in mine. I mean, truth be told, just blow up one of them.
Yeah, of course you just blow up one, but potentially Michael could just have another copy in his hand.
Of course, of course. Not much that Brian can do about that. So I think we might see a Ghost Quarter here in just a moment, because you don't want to just give this Tron deck free reign to have 7 mana on turn 3 and do whatever it wants. And I got a good glimpse of Michael's hand. He does have a Walking Ballista in his hand, which is a card that's very good against Brian. In the draw step, we are going to see a little Ghost Quarter action. He's going to go after the Urza's Mine, which will allow Michael to search up a basic. It's a copy of a Waste. So he does have a couple of wastes in the deck, just 2, to be able to fight against Ghost Quarter. You see that that Ghost Quarter activation in the draw step because Brian hoping that Michael does draw a copy of wastes. Maybe he already has another one in the hand, and then it just plays the role of a Stone Rain.
And even this isn't going to set Michael back that much. If he's got the 4 and 5 drop Eldrazi's in his hand, he's still going to be able to hit those and really pressure Brian quickly here.
Well, another Expedition map along with Urza's Tower. You're going to see a sacrifice here. Very smart by Michael.
Yep.
Sacrificing right away. No nonsense with Leon and Arbiter or something else that could come out of that Vial. So he's got an idea of how this matchup can go. Get your Tron land now. You were going to do it anyway.
Yeah, very heads-up play. I like it a lot.
Yep. It might seem minor, but you might as well make it so that you don't walk yourself into something stupid.
You see people who aren't familiar with the format get punked all the time by Leon and Arbiter.
Mm-hmm. Remember, players do have access to each other's deck lists here. And here comes Thraben Inspector. You saw a clue made last turn when the Inspector entered the battlefield through the Vial. But players are working with very, very good information about what their opponents will have because they have each other's deck lists. So we're going to head back over to Michael now. Tron about to be online.
Yeah, this is a big turn for him. He's got a lot going on.
At least a Walking Ballista for 4.
Yeah, that's the worst that this turn can be.
And that's a pretty darn good turn against a white deck like this. There is Walking Ballista for 4. What do we have in response? Okay. All right, Phyrexian Revoker.
It's actually very effective here.
That's very good, actually. Gonna slow down the Walking Ballista.
I mean, it's still a 4/4 body.
Mm-hmm. But the Revoker will stop the Walking Ballista, at least for right now. We're gonna head back over to Coval. All right, he's gonna go up to 3. Now the thing about the Death and Taxes deck, and it's also true in Legacy too, it just has this way of figuring out a way to make things work. Now he's got a land for the Tectonic Edge, so now he can blow up probably just a mine.
Yeah, you already got one.
He's already gotten one, so now he's taken Michael off of Tron. You know, Flicker Wisp could take care of Walking Ballista.
Sure.
You know, something like that. So the Vial's on 3. Had a feeling it was going to be an important card in the matchup. And now we're going to head back over to Michael with only 2 Urza's Mines left.
Yeah, you look at this list and you're like, that card's not that great, that card's not that great. But when they start playing together, they find ways to grind out games.
Reality Smasher and Walking Ballista are coming through. What do we have now coming out of the Vial? Little guessing game. All right, that'll be a Blade Splicer. Remember, that Golem's going to have first strike because of Blade Splicer. It's a 3/3. And fairly confident that the Revoker is a construct, I believe. I know this. It's not a golem.
Sure.
I know that. It's a horror. Not even close to a construct.
Of course it's a horror.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? It is from Phyrexia, I guess.
I mean, when I think of a creature that counters abilities.
A horror. It's not very nice at all. It's just a mean, scary creature.
Don't do that.
Yep. Walking Ballista is going to trade with the Golem. And then Thraben Inspector will stay. And Reality Smasher did get to deal 5 points of damage. So now it's on Brian to be able to take care of that threat if he can.
Yeah, and this is a fun game. We get to see Brian use multiple lands to disrupt his opponent while he has the Vial, deploying his army over there. Michael on the other side has able to hit Tron, taken off Tron some more, still able to play some fatties. And so both these decks firing on all cylinders.
They're doing what they're supposed to do. Here's an attack for 4. 15 all, and Brian will play a Ghost Quarter and pass the turn back. In the draw step we go. He's going to go after Eldrazi Temple. Michael will search up another Waste. He has 2 in his main deck, as I did mention. So these Ghost Quarters aren't backbreaking, but now the next couple of Ghost Quarters, if Brian does find one, those will be Strip Mines.
Yep.
Those will be Wastelands, whatever you want to call them.
I like Strip Mine.
All right, we'll go with Strip Mine. Michael, of course, is already drawn for the turn. And Brian's got that Vial on 3. You don't know what's going to come out of there. Michael taking a pretty decent look at his hand. He's got a Chalice to the Void. And what kind of like we mentioned before we cut on to the match, Chalice can be very good in some spots. And here, I don't know, what do you put it on?
Yeah, exactly. What do you put it on? There's already a Chalice on 3, so you can't lock down the 3 drops. We're already past the 1 drop point in the game, unless you're worried about Path to Exile. So maybe the right number to put it on is 2.
Maybe.
Maybe.
There's an Expedition map. All right, if Michael wants Tron, he can go get it again. You see this deck's ability to keep building towards Tron. There's a Chalice. Looks like it's going to be for 1. And will Reality Smasher continue to attack? That's what I want to know. The answer is yes. Brian going to fall down to 10. Remember, Michael hasn't played a land yet this turn. He did search up a Waste off a Ghost Quarter, but he actually hasn't played a land just yet, so he's going to play an Eldrazi Temple, simply pass the turn back. Here's an activation of Vial. It's going to bring a Blade Splicer, which is going to bring a Golem. Time for Brian to untap.
And it's looking like a good old-fashioned race at this point.
Yeah, it looks like to me, too. Brian going to leave his Vial on 3, not willing to go up to 4, means he doesn't have a Restoration Angel just yet. Cavernous Souls. That's going to name something. Let's see what this is. Leonin Arbiter.
We'll see a response to that one.
Well, he better. There we go. He better respond. Leonin Arbiter, a little funky cat cleric. 2 mana, 2/2. We see those stats all the time on white creatures. Players can't search libraries. Any player may pay 2 mana for that player to ignore this effect until end of turn. So if this does show up early, Expedition map, some other things going on in Michael's deck will be not so good.
Yeah, like we mentioned, a lot of the times the power of this card is the potential for it to come out of the Either Vial. You wait until your opponent cracks a fetch land or activates their Expedition map. Then it comes down at instant speed and just locks them out.
Yeah, and that's the bad news. Looks like a Temple is what Michael would like. And we can't forget with the Leonin Arbiter, Ghost Quarter obviously very good when it's on the battlefield, becomes a Strip Mine in most instances, and Path to Exile basically has no drawback then.
Yep.
So that's just one aspect of this particular deck, as it looks like Brian is he's interested in a little bit of attacking here. Going to come across for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, looks like 8. Michael's going to fall down to 7.
Yeah, Michael's going to need a big draw step here. All his dust would just be spectacular.
That would not be bad, as he'll draw a card. It's in Urza's Mine. He could complete the Tron if he'd like, but it looks like his hand, Craig, is all lands.
It's a tough one.
An old Reality Smasher, even if it hangs back on D, is going to be no good here, as Brian could attack with everything. and get enough points across the finish line.
Yeah, it looks like if he blocks the golem, there's still 7 points coming through.
Yeah. It's an Urza's Mine, and Michael will pass over to Brian. Well, Brian's going to vial something in. He's got a Mirroring Crusader, and if he wasn't going to attack with everything before.
Yeah, this will lock it up.
Yeah, I think he's going to attack with everything now. And the nice thing here for Brian, again, when you're working with your opponent's deck list, you know there's not a lot of outs here from Michael.
Sure.
Brian will crack a clue, draw a card.
And to me, the biggest play of this game was that one of Phyrexian Revoker coming down.
Awesome. Awesome card.
I mean, that Walking Ballista, there was no Path to Exile at any point in this game. That Walking Ballista would have just ruled the board for the entire game.
Absolutely. Would have been able to put more counters on itself and just kind of done its thing, but a timely Revoker off of that vial is why Brian Coval able to win game from 1 here over Michael Strianese. Death and Taxes, everybody, up a game here over Eldrazi Tron. Now remember, game number 2 will be without the sideboard. So you see Michael's already going back, a little table shuffle here. Brian will be shuffling his deck too. And we'll talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale another time here because it's almost over. It's Sunday. New sale comes on Monday at 10:59 is when this one ends. 11 a.m. is when the next one does begin. That's East Coast time, of course. But for now, you can get 15% off of select modern cards like Damnation, Polluted Delta, Meddling Mage, and the very powerful Lightning Bolt. Go to StarCityGames.com/weekly sale. Hopefully, Craig left some goodies for you, but no, no guarantee of that.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah. No real guarantee of that. That's for sure. Don't forget, on the other side of our bracket, our match coming up after this, make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be a real good one between Daniel Fournier and Todd Anderson. That's a Grits' Death Shadow Mirror. Daniel's your 6th seed and Todd is your 7th, so Daniel will be on the play. And that matchup is a lot of fun to watch, are those Death Shadow Mirrors. So that should be a real good one between 2 very, very good players. And the winner of that is going to play the winner of this. Now, we're only 1 game in, Craig, but if you had to pick a winner, do you side with Death and Taxes just because up a game, or is this just too much for Eldrazi Tron to overcome, maybe?
I think the matchup is pretty close.
Okay.
This is not a matchup I'm super familiar with.
I don't really think anyone is.
The Death and Taxes deck is a little more fringe. Eldrazi Tron is definitely an established deck, but it's not a significant part of the metagame. So it's hard for me to be spot on this one. I don't know. The way that game played out with Eldrazi Tron on the play, it got to Tron again, and it's amazing, these little 2/2s and 2/1s and 1/1s that bring 3/3s. Like, it was just all enough.
It feels like Death and Taxes Legacy, right?
Yes.
Every time Death and Taxes Legacy wins, I'm always just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But it did. You know, it's got its little Sarah Avenger, its little Phyrexian Revoker, it's Thalia messing everything up, a Caracas activation here, a Wasteland there, and all of a sudden, the opponent can't do anything.
Yeah, and so many of these creatures are the same creatures that we see in Legacy.
Yeah. I mean, Blade Splicer is not the most impressive creature, but you got to kill your opponent with something, I guess.
Sure, but we still have Thalia, we still have Flickerwisp, we still have Sarah Avenger. All of these are Legacy level cards.
Yes,
so
they are.
They're probably good in Modern too.
Well, Brian's pretty happy with how his deck has been working thus far, and he is currently up a game. Remember, he's the number 8 overall seed, so he just broke serve.
Yeah. Which
is pretty important, and he's keeping 7 cards. And I think what you mentioned is pretty important in that game 1. You know, I would say Eldrazi Tron did its thing.
Yes.
Put Tron together twice. We had a Reality Smasher. We had a Walking Ballista, which would have run rampant.
Yep.
But Brian was able to answer all of that, and then eventually say, you know what, I can cross the finish line and get the job done. And now Michael is taking a mulligan down to 5. So it might be 2-0 Brian Coval here in just a moment.
Yeah, this is a bumpy start.
Yeah. Keep in mind, we'll be getting the sideboards after this game, regardless of the outcome. And if Brian's got more stuff to bring in here, that's really bad news for Michael.
Well, and that game was interesting because Brian missed a couple land drops in there. He had the Ghost Quarter, and then he was just sitting on 1 land for a couple of turns.
But the power.
But the Vial.
The power of the Vial.
Well, it's the power of the Vial and the power of his other lands to do things other than just tap for 1 mana.
Very true. Very, very true. That was very, very important for him. Ghost Quarter, Tectonic Edge. Didn't see a Rising Canopy that game, but maybe we will in this one. Looks like Michael's going to keep his 5.
All right, Mike. Let's put it together.
Yeah.
Go get him.
He's got Urza's Mind. He'll pass the turn back. We'll go over to Brian. Well, there's that. It's the power of Aether Vial, folks. Here's a Mind Stone. Pass the turn back. Michael's got 2 of his Tron pieces, and he does have Ulamog in hand, which is, well, he's a little ways away from that.
That's a big creature.
Yeah, if it resolves, he'll probably win. I don't know if he'll ever get to cast it.
Well, it looked like he had a Walking Blister in his hand.
He does have one of those as well.
Which, I mean, just a Walking Blister on 2 to start the game out is still a good start for him.
It's not too bad at all. It'll force Brian to have an answer like Path to Exile. Let's see if he's got the Revoker again. He's got Thraven Inspector. You want to kill that? Oh, look at the value.
Cha-ching.
Make a clue, draw a card.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Easy breezy. We'll head over to Brian's 3rd turn now.
Thraven Inspector.
It's playable everywhere.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently it's playable everywhere. It's no Mother of Runes, but it's a pretty darn good 1-drop for a white deck. Brian gonna start playing some more spells here, it appears. A little unsure of himself at the moment. There's a Tectonic Edge, 3 mana. Flicker Wisp. See, that's good against that.
Well, it's going to eat it. They're going to trade with each other.
Yeah. You see Michael going to take a look at Flicker Wisp. We're going to do the same. Legacy playable.
Yep.
And maybe it's Modern playable.
Most definitely is.
Yeah. When it enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If Walking Ballista were to get exiled, it would come back. It would have no counters on it, so it would die. So that's why you see Michael take care of the Flicker Wisp. And now we head back over to him. Can he complete the Tron? He'll play a Waste. That's land number 4, which means Tectonic Edge is on. And we have a Reality Smasher, so he's got a threat.
Okay, yeah.
He's going to come across for 5. And to note, Brian not going to slide anything through the vial on 2, which means he's probably got a lot of 3s in his hand.
Probably a lot of 3s. And if Brian decides not to blow up a land here, Michael can peel a tower off the top.
Ooh, it would be Ulamog time.
It'd be Ulamog time.
7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, all right. This is interesting too, because if you're on Brian's side of things, you might think, okay, mold to 5.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he might not have much, but this is at least pretty safe.
Yeah, I like Brian just making the very safe play here. It seems like Brian has a whole bunch of spells in his hand, so it's tempting to just leave your lands behind, deploy some spells. I love the safe play here.
Here's a Path to Exile. Looks like in the draw step to go after Reality Smasher, and Brian's going to discard a Mirren Crusader. So now Michael will get to search up a Waste if he has one left. Don't know if he drew it or not.
Man, and now we're so far away from Ulamog.
Pretty long ways away now. We were potentially a perfect draw step away, and now I think it's going to be stuck there a while.
He just wants to play with the rest of the creatures. Hey guys, can I play with you guys? No.
No more.
Get out of here. Too big.
Way too big. Gonna cash in the Mind Stone, perhaps? We're further away. we're only getting further away. Ulamog, a Relic Progenitor. It looks like an Eldrazi Temple are the cards that Michael is working with. I feel like Progenitor can do a little cantripping, but Brian doesn't really use his graveyard all that much. So it's just going to be more of a cantrip than anything. Tron piece would be big. Chalice of the Void, not so much. There's a Temple, pass the turn back. Michael's in some real trouble here as the Vial's going to go active. Blade Splicer's going to bring a Golem along with it.
Yeah, watching this matchup now, it just feels even worse for Eldrazi Tron than we initially expected.
This seems difficult. This seems difficult.
The Chalices just seem so ineffective. I thought they potentially would be quite good in certain scenarios.
Well, I want to see how things look, as you saw Vial go up to 4 there for Brian, so he's representing Restoration Angel. But I want to see how things look when Brian doesn't have Vial.
Sure.
And Michael is playing against a Death and Taxes player who doesn't have Vial, because Vial allows Brian to do everything he wants.
Yeah, Brian has definitely had the draws where he goes turn 1 Vial, and then he can start using his lands for whatever he wants to do and still deploy a creature every turn.
This is a walking ballista. We might have a response here with a Restoration Angel. Going to target, oh yeah. Oh yeah, give me another clue.
Judging!
Yeah, you want to kill that? You want to kill my 1/2 with your ballista? No, of course you don't. So I'll draw a card. I love it.
Why is it a 1/2?
I don't know, I don't make the rules. That Vial should be untapped by the by. There we go, Brian.
We got there.
Yeah. There's a land, Horizon Canopy. What's this? A Flicker Wisp. Gonna kill that again.
Yep, just...
Walking Ballista is going to take care of Flicker Wisp and
Oh, no.
Oh, it's not going to take care of Blade Splash. This is a runaway. Another Golem now.
Well, and that was a tough one. You know, whatever one he chose to shoot second was going to get saved by the Angel.
Yeah. It's going to be bad news no matter what.
Yep.
There's Nurse's Power Plant, just going to pass the turn back. Brian's going to untap. We'll probably leave that Vial on 4. And we might be getting that other semifinal match here a little quicker than I think we thought, because Brian Coval is making this look very easy right now. He is up 2-0 with Death and Taxes against Eldrazi-tron. And if he's got stuff to bring in, this is going to get real ugly for Michael, who's had one heck of a tournament thus far. And we're going to take a look at the sideboards, but I'm not too optimistic now.
Yeah, what is going on?
Feels pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I feel like you guys undersold this Death and Taxes deck.
I haven't seen it a lot in Modern. I will say that. Haven't played with it much. You know, we talked so much about Grixis Death Shadow and Dredge and Affinity and all that stuff. But this Death and Taxes deck might be a little bit better than I think people realize, myself included. Now, I'm going to turn the attention towards Michael and his 15 cards here very quickly to see 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Hangerback Walker, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Warping Whale, a collar, a needle, and an engine made of worms. Now, look, Ratchet Bomb's good.
Yeah, Ratchet Bomb is going to be a fine one for this matchup. Very possibly we see the Hangerback Walker, the Worm Coil Engine. I can see the Basilisk Collar coming in here. I mean, maybe even the Warping Well. A lot of these creatures have 1 toughness.
Yeah, let's do a quick check. The 1 toughness here. Revoker, Weathered Wayfarer. What year is this? 3-man Inspector. I don't want to Warping Whale that. Thalia, okay. I want to kill that. Blade Splicer.
Nope.
Not really.
But the Flicker Wisp.
I do want to kill that.
Mirror Crusader if they're still in the deck.
No, 2 toughness, 2 power, 2 toughness.
Oh, that's a 2/2.
Yeah, 2/2.
I'm sorry,
2/2
it's
for
been a
3.
while.
Yeah. So that's not going to die. I think Warping Whale's okay. I don't think it's bad.
Well, we'll see.
And then the Wormcoil Engine, I think, is almost certainly going to come in, and hopefully it doesn't get passed. So for Brian's side of things, as he's already shuffling pretty quickly, I think he's feeling pretty good about things.
For sure.
4 Relic of Progenitus, not so much. 3 Stony Silence, not so much. Forge Tender, nah. Dusk Dawn.
Very possibly these cards will be in there.
I think Dusk can kill a lot of these creatures, so that'll be good. Sunlance, doesn't kill Thought Knot, doesn't kill Reality Smasher, kills Matter Reshaper, so not, I mean.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't like it. Cage, meh.
Nope.
Crusader, meh.
Nope.
I mean, he might just have a good enough build of his deck where he doesn't have to change a lot.
Sure, yeah. I can see just these 2 Dusk Dawns coming into the deck and nothing else changing.
Yeah, I think that's in play. I do. And for Michael, I think a lot needs to change. You know, again, I'm not entirely sure what the number is you want to name with Chalice.
Yeah. Well, it's very possible they just shouldn't be in the deck anymore.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I think they might just have to go hit the road, and you got to find some other stuff.
Yeah, and that Ulamog cannot be in there anymore.
Way too expensive.
Yeah, it's just so awkward. We saw all the land destruction just so effective against him.
Yeah, he's got to find all his dust.
Yep.
He's got to find Dismember. He's got to hope that Brian doesn't have Vial, I think.
Well, and he's had Walking Ballista both games, but both games it was answered.
Yeah, Brian's had answers for it. So, and keep in mind, Michael does have 4 Walking Ballistas, but Brian has had plenty of answers in Flicker Wisp, and he's had some Path to Exiles too. So Brian Cole's got to win one of these next 3, and I think he's in prime position to do so. As these players do shuffle, we'll talk SCG Game Night one more time here. We're in the month of July. It's the Goose. It's loose. The Goose of St. Traff pins and tokens will be available at your local game night all July long. As we work our way into August, it's Puggernaut. Our dog will not be walled off. 6/6 artifact creature beast, pins and tokens. And then Old Stinky. All Smell Snare, one of my favorites here in the month of September. We'll have pins and tokens of that as well. If you'd like to get registered for SCG Game Night, have your local store contact Star City Games. We can get you all set up. You can find more information at go.starcitygames.com/game night. With regards to the program, locations that you can find, all that good stuff. Get yourself some Smell Snare there in September as we get ready here for game number 3 between Michael and Brian. Trust me, Craig, you're going to like October, November, December, too.
I'm sure I am.
I promise.
I want to tell the fans at home, walk your puggernauts or pay the price. Don't leave them pent up inside.
Nah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. They'll take some walls down. We're underway here in game number 3, and Urza's Towers, where Michael's going to start. Is it Vile again? Ah, no, a little different.
Oh, that card's so good.
Weathered Wayfarer, everybody. Now, if you're new,
I've used this card.
I used this card back in the day, too. This is originally from Onslaught.
Yes.
This is from Onslaught. We're dating ourselves. Yep, gotta trade with it.
Yeah.
Gotta trade with it. Search your library for a land card. Any land card and reveal it. Put it in your hand and then shuffle your library. Play this ability only if your opponent has more lands than you, which on the draw, they will in most circumstances, which means you're searching up Ghost Quarters, Tectonic Edges, Horizon Canopies, all that stuff. This was a really nice card back in the day.
And with the Tech Edges and the Ghost Quarters, you sacrifice it, targeting your opponent's land, and before their land is destroyed, you then use Weathered Wayfarer again to go search up another one.
Look at you. You know all the Wayfarer tricks. Look at you.
Yeah, man.
That's one of my favorite cards. Like, it's obviously good, but it's not, broken or anything.
It's very unassuming.
Yeah, it's just a good card.
But it'll get you if you're not careful.
We got a Pithing Needle. We're going to find out what it's naming here in just a moment. And he's going to go with Aether Vial, and now there's a Ratchet Bomb. Laying an Arbiter over there for Brian. Now I'm curious to see if he's got any Ghost Quarters working. He's got just a Plains and an attack for 2. And what's the big follow-up going to be? Assuming he even has one. And it doesn't even look like he does. So Ratchet Bomb's going to put a counter on itself, and we're going to head back over to Michael.
Well, that Ratchet Bomb might get reset to 0.
True.
Flicker Wisp.
Yes, true. Very powerful 3/1 flyer. Let's see what land this is going to be. It'll be a Seagate Wreckage.
Okay. Michael, let's get on the board.
Here's a Mind Stone.
That's something. It's not nothing.
Yeah, but what's the big threat? That's what he's missing right now, as Brian's going to untap.
Once again, two-headed giant carriers are being hosted for your next round. Please find their seats. Two-headed giant.
Here's an attack for 2 by Brian. There's land number 4. It's Horizon Canopy number 1. And next up is Flicker Wisp. Well, you called it. Why don't you start over there, Ratchet Bomb?
Still a long way from home.
Uh-huh. All right, no counter. All right, put a counter on it, probably.
I would think so.
Yeah, so Flicker Wisp is going to take it away. It'll bring it back, and then Michael will be able to put a counter on it. So let's go back over to Michael. I think he may have just drawn the Dust Buster.
Yep. Looked like all his dust.
Yeah.
Not Dust Bowl.
Oh, it's Dust Buster.
Dust Buster.
Yeah, it is not. It is not Dust Bowl. This. Ooh, okay. All right, we found our payoff card.
Yep.
Endbringer.
Let's see if it sticks around.
I would be surprised. Say that.
Dust Bowl was one of the more fun Magic cards of all time.
If you're into destroying lands and making your opponent miserable, which I am.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which I am. Here's a Path to Exile. That's one of my favorite things to do. Endbringer down. Waste on the way, most likely. I lied. Leonin Arbiter says, no way.
Oh, it's so good.
It really can be. Here's an attack for 5. Michael's going to untap. He's got all his dust, not much else.
Bomb did not go up that turn.
A little surprising, perhaps. Maybe a little misstep there from Michael. We'll play another Mind Stone. He is clutching all of that all his dust pretty tight because it's an important one right now.
Yeah, I think the plan is take a little more damage this turn, and then hope to bait his opponent into playing a little more onto the board.
Here's Restoration Angel. Gonna blink Flicker Wisp, gonna take care of the Ratchet Bomb.
That poor Ratchet Bomb.
It's never getting anywhere. It's not gonna ever do anything. It's gone away for right now. Let's go back over to Brian. Gonna start by sacrificing your Rising Canopy to draw a card. He'll play a Plains. It's an attack for 8.
Attack for 8. And the Ratchet Bomb was flickered out during the end step. It won't come in until the next end step.
Correct. So now it's up to 1. Untap. We got a land here, folks? I guess he doesn't need one in theory because he's got a Mind Stones.
Yep.
He counted up. It's time for the Dustbuster. All the creatures are dead. Is there another Restoration Angel over here for Brian? Because if there is, this is the old broom. Sweep it up, folks.
Jeez.
He made this look easy.
Just 3-0'd him, yeah.
That means that Brian Coval, as he's going to extend the hand and shake it, he wins this match 3-0. He has not lost a game in our elimination rounds. Death in Taxes might be the new modern hotness. Our weekly sale might have some cheap Death in Taxes cards over there. You better get moving. That was a beatdown. That was a beating.
That was impressive, all 3 games.